Recorded Books and One Click Digital present The Bloody Cup, the King Arthur Trilogy, Book 3, by M.K. Hume, narrated by Stephen Crossley.
Prologue. From Beowulf. It is always better to avenge dear ones than to indulge in mourning. For every one of us living in this world means waiting for our end. 3 furtive men made their shadowy separate ways to a lonely bothy north of Rati. Summer was almost fled, and the woods wore the first yellowing leaves of autumn. Although the night was still, the moon was obscured by cloud, as if the last storms of the warm months were building around the mountain chain. "Enter, traveller. You're late." The man who spoke was muffled in a long black cloak that disguised his form and transformed him into a shadowy puddle in the rear of the wattle and daub room. The fire was unlit, so his face was invisible within the cowl of his cloak. A heavy wrapper of coarse wool concealed his mouth and nose, while the fabric also served to disguise the man's voice. "The route was difficult, and I dared not travel by daylight," the smaller man replied as he insinuated his body into the room through the derelict entrance. The newcomer was even more heavily disguised than his master. Ragged travelling gloves disguised his hands, and his beggar's robes turned him into a shapeless, verminous lump. "Well, at least you're here now," the third man stated roughly, causing the beggar to bridle within his coarse disguise. "Have you found men who are suitable to our needs? Men who'll keep their mouths shut?" "Give me credit for some gumption," the beggar responded irritably. "The High King makes enemies easily, so I've encountered no difficulty in tracking down several men who have been thrown out of Capri for drunkenness or theft. They like their heads attached to their treasonous shoulders, so they'll obey me when the time comes." The third man snorted derisively and leaned against the far wall, cleaning his nails with a plain, wickedly sharp knife. Unlike his companions, he had chosen to bare his face, an unprepossessing network of puckered scars rendered more hideous by a sunken eye socket, whose empty lid had been stitched shut. His plaited hair marked him as a warrior, and a decorated eye patch had been pushed up onto his broad brow for comfort. A heavy jerkin showed signs of hard use, although the leather was supple with oil, and bronze plates had been threaded onto the heavy oxide to provide added protection. His kit was
Sample complete. Ready to continue?